Chapter 21. The Beast Riot in Su Xian scrolled up the regional channel and quickly found Ji Chaoyang's previous messages, repeated multiple times by others. Easy to spot. Don't panic. Treehouses mask your scent. As long as you stay quiet. Beasts won't detect you. Don't peek out of windows. Low treehouses put you too close to the ground. Shadows attract predators. Hide somewhere they cannot see. Treehouses mask scent. How does he know this? Su Xian muttered, stroking his chin. Ji Chaoyang is definitely an expert. He must have access to high-grade resources. Blue or higher materials were rare. Most players couldn't identify them until bringing them home. Only lucky players like Li Wenxi, whose resources were concentrated in a rich mine, could casually acquire blue-grade materials. Su Xian himself had walked 2 days to find his first blue resource. For his treehouse, windows weren't a problem. His massive banyan tree concealed everything. Low tree houses, about 3 meters high, were basically prey platforms for wild cats. No wonder so many perished. Checking the channel, survivors stabilized at 8,140. The beast tide had receded. Beast riot ends. Congratulations to survivors. You have endured the initial beast surge night and are now true treehouse explorers. Death rate, 32.76%. Some will never return. May their souls rest peacefully. Warning, beasts may return. Arm yourselves for the next riot. Reward, jungle exploration event begins today at 9 o'clock. Survive and prosper, 32.76%. Su Xian frowned. His channel suggested less than 20%. Other areas must have seen heavier casualties. And what exactly was the jungle exploration event? Reward or trap? The regional channel buzzed with relief. Finally over. Mom, I'm alive. Thanks, big brother. Death rate in our region was low. 188 South Wave 1. Exhausted sleep now. Event starts tomorrow. Su Xian, still energized from the blue-orange, felt ready. His map showed no red dots near his treehouse. Most remaining beasts had moved northwest into uncharted territory. Clearly a dangerous zone he had no reason to explore. He offered Li Wenxi the repaired backpack. White-grade backpack. Want it? No reply. Not surprising. Her treehouse wasn't low tier. She, like him, could survive without panic. Su Xian ate another orange and a large red berry, preparing to scavenge. Most others likely stayed indoors, wary of remaining beasts. With the map, Su Xian knew his area was safe. He descended via the banyan tree's root tendrils. His first sight, the blue apple tree he'd planted had grown to 2-finger thickness in a single day. Nearby fences had broken, but the tree was unharmed. The forest floor was chaotic, blood stains, fur, and a few dropped feathers, glowing faintly green. Su Xian picked up a feather frowny face owl feather, green. Dropped during the owl's struggle, faintly bloodstained, it could be used for stone arrows. He noted the absence of beast sinew, essential for crafting bows. Perhaps only certain animals yielded it, or it was a chance drop. Without ranged weapons, Su Xian felt vulnerable. Surprisingly, there were no carcasses, not even bones. Only the chaos of the previous fight. Survival wouldn't hand out free loot. He collected 4 owl feathers in total. Suddenly, a rustle in the bushes startled him. Stone spear raised. He checked the map. No red dots. Map malfunction? But out of the shrubs, a small brown head appeared. White ears twitching. Ah, it's you. The red panda he'd seen earlier. Small, curious, harmless, not detectable by the map. It approached, grabbed his shorts, and squeaked. Su Xian understood immediately. He pulled a large red berry from his backpack. Want this? The red panda nodded eagerly, squeaking in agreement. You understand me? Su Xian's eyes widened. Chapter 22. Raising a red panda pet, Ing. The red panda tilted its head. Then I won't give you any. Ing. It panicked, clinging tightly to Su Xian's leg. Its big, brown and white tail swept over the ground, and its tiny eyes glimmered with pleading. Sure enough, it could understand him. Su Xian handed over a large red berry, and the little creature took it with both paws, licked it twice, and popped it into its mouth with a satisfied squeak. Blue-grade fruits weren't just useful to survivors. Beasts seemed to love them too. Su Xian remembered a second bush of large red berries, blue, on the opposite side of the lake. discovered 2 days ago. He hadn't harvested them, fearing spoilage, but this little panda had unknowingly come begging for them twice. Observations confirmed his suspicion. Blue-grade fruits could be stored without spoiling, even in midday 35 degrees Celsius heat. The berries remained cool and crisp, just like the day they were picked. The red panda, licking its paws, prepared to leave, but Su Xn swiftly grabbed it by the scruff, lifting it to eye level. Ing? The little one tilted its head, not resisting. Trust had been earned through 2 days of feeding. Want to follow me? I'll give you 1 berry each day, Su Xn offered. The red panda made no objection, nestling comfortably in his arms as he petted its soft black belly fur. This creature was extraordinary, far from ordinary. Tiny as a rabbit, small as a black bear, it seemed unaffected by the survival world's rules. It could listen, understand, and remain undetectable by Su Xin's creation permissions ability. The red panda pushed closer, stretching tiny paws in a playful peace gesture. Su Xin laughed. Food and shelter every day, plus more berries if you help me out. Ing. The ears perked. It leapt to his shoulder, its fluffy tail draping over the other side. Su Xin scratched its head. The creature rubbed back against his hand and closed its eyes. This outing was already rewarding. Not just a rare creature, but a companion that could ignore world mechanics. Who wouldn't want a red panda that could understand speech in a forest where human contact was rare? Su Xin decided to harvest the other bush of red berries. Each bush yielded 30+ fruits, enough for a month's supply for the little panda, though he worried about how it might react to seeing so many. Surprisingly, the red panda showed no interest in the bush at first. It glanced at the fruits, then at Su Xin, and rested on his shoulder. Su Xin asked, "These are your favorite blueberries. Aren't you interested?" Ing. The panda tilted its head, seemingly puzzled, before plucking 1 berry itself. After tasting it, it shook its head in disapproval. Su Xin, confused, picked another berry and offered it. This time, the red panda squeaked happily and ate it immediately. It only eats picked fruits, not those still on the bush? Su Xin pondered. He placed the berries in his backpack. 2 berries for today? That's it. The red panda tried to open the backpack, failing, and instead affectionately licked Su Xin's face. He resisted. If he gave in, the little one would eat him out of house and home. Su Xin reflected. Blue-grade plants didn't appear any different from normal ones. Likely, their special attributes only manifest when harvested by survivors transported into this world. Otherwise, they were ordinary fruits. This system maintained balance. Scarce blue resources couldn't simply be devoured by wildlife. Even birds would eat them first if left unharvested. The voice in his mind returned. Perhaps it, too, was an outsider. And perhaps he and other survivors were nothing more than lab rats in an experiment, a small test group in a world much more complex than it seemed. Chapter 23. Roasting the bear paw. Su Xin shook his head. No more overthinking. Survival came first. Throughout the berry picking, the little creature on his shoulder had been giving him those accusing eyes, as if to say, "You have so many berries, and only 1 for me?" Scrooge. The bush had 32 large red berries, 2 of which the panda had already eaten. Su Xin carefully harvested the remaining 30 berries and stored them in his backpack, occupying a single slot. Satisfied, he decided it was time to head back. Around 4 to 5 a.m., the first light of dawn crept over the horizon. The morning activity wouldn't start until 9, and although the effects of the orange had kept him energetic, his body still felt fatigued. It was time to rest. Back at the treehouse, the little creature jumped down and began exploring, squeaking with curiosity. Su Xin reminded it sternly, "Don't touch anything," while placing all the blue-grade food safely in his backpack to prevent it from sneaking a snack. Hungry from the night's work, Su Xin patted his empty stomach and glanced at the bear meat and the blue-grade bear paw he had hunted. 3 days without meat had left him ravenous. He sliced 2 kilograms of bear meat and placed the prized bear paw on the grill in front of the fireplace. Although bear paw was traditionally best when slow-cooked, roasting offered its own flavored. Su Xin recalled a line from Chow Ji's Ming Du Pian: sliced carp with shrimp, stir-fried soft-shell turtle, roasted bear paw. As a food lover, he had memorized it. In his own country, Bear was protected, making the delicacy impossible. Here, in this world, he could finally experience it. A small blessing in a harsh survival game. Lacking a proper pot, he had checked his crafting list. No recipes for iron pots or stoves appeared. Only the grill was craftable. Perhaps advanced kitchen tools required unlocking. He made shallow cuts on the meat and paw and laid them on the grill. No seasoning, just pure flavor for now. He knew to keep an eye out for salts. Too long without sodium could be dangerous, even if meat contains some naturally. The little panda, tired from its morning exploration, curled up on the third floor. Su Exine gave it an apple, and it happily gnawed away. I need to give you a name. Su Exine watched the little fur ball munching away. The panda looked up, tilting its head. You're so fluffy. Let's call you Fluffy. The little creature shook its head, dissatisfied. Then, brownie, coffee, cocoa. It tilted its head again, seemingly confused. Su Exine shrugged. Fine, cocoa it is. Ing. The little panda squeaked in mild protest, but resumed eating, accepting its new name. Soon, the bear meat began to sizzle and glisten with its own fat. After 3 days without meat, the smell alone made Su Exine's mouth water. Despite lacking seasoning, the blue-gray bear paw was exceptional, firm, oily, rich in gelatin. He ate greedily, savoring every bite, feeling the strength enhancement even as he chewed. Afterward, he washed up at the lake. Though his backpack was full, he still carried a large wooden basin for water. Easier than multiple trips later. Lying in bed, he felt the power from the bear paw coursing through him. Moving a heavy basin of water felt effortless. Combined with his backpack's bonus, his carrying capacity had increased significantly. Su Exine drifted off, waking to birdsong at 8:30 a.m., half an hour before the 9 a.m. event. Coco still slept curled up beside him, tail wrapped around its body. After a quick wash, Su Exine checked the regional channel, which was already buzzing. 20 minutes to the start. Jungle exploration event, huh? Treasure maybe. Don't get too excited. Remember last night's nightmare? Are there teams? Exploring solo is too risky. Su Exine also noticed a message from Li Wenci. How do you have a backpack? I searched last night after the beast wave and found no carcasses. Did you kill something? Also, why is it white grade? I thought it was green in the crafting list. Su Exine replied. I got lucky, killed a beast that was eating. This backpack is made from its shredded hide. Trade it for some blue-grade stone or iron ore. The adventure was about to begin. Chapter 24, Jungle Exploration Event. The video call almost instantly came through. Su Exine thought to himself. This girl really likes video calls. Luckily, he had already washed up after getting up, so he answered immediately. Did you really kill a wild beast? That's incredible. You actually went out last night. On the screen, Li Wenci appeared in the newbie two-piece set, her figure curvy and her long, fair legs exposed, making Su Exine's eyebrows twitch. Wow, such an unguarded full-body view so early in the morning. The newbie two-piece set actually looked quite good. Just lucky, they injured each other, and I benefited. Su Exine replied casually. So, do you want it? I can trade it for some blue-grade materials. You want to trade a white backpack for my blue-grade materials? Li Wenci crossed her arms, clearly unhappy. The newbie protection period is over, the wild beasts are out, and there's already a way to get beast hides. Do you really think this is a fair price? She was clearly interested in the backpack but felt it was too expensive. Su Exine remained calm. Don't forget today's event, the jungle exploration. There will definitely be resources we didn't have in the past 3 days. You don't want to pick them up by hand again, do you? He knew the convenience of the backpack wasn't just about reducing weight. It allowed him to carry bulky items and free his hands. Li Wenci frowned, still hesitating. She had just glanced at the mine and hadn't gone deep, but she already heard the growls of animals inside, meaning these blue-grade resources were scarce. Every piece counted. You're taking advantage of the situation. After today, your white backpack will only be more valuable. Li Wenci tried to argue further. Su Exine smiled. You also don't want to find great resources during the exploration, but have to leave them behind, right? Here's the deal. 2 blue stones, 2 blue iron ores, and you get this backpack. I'll throw in a red berry and 2 kilograms of bear meat. You actually killed a bear? After last night's beast surge, Some strong players got valuable loot. Even without a crafting table, they could make wooden sticks or hammers. Though basic blunt weapons in strong hands, they might rival Su Xian's stone spear in damaged up EY now. The trading platform was no longer as simple as during the newbie protection period. People were selling meat, and Su Xian also listed the wolf meat partially eaten by the bear, noting he wanted to trade for green or blue-grade resources. However, there were no backpacks or beast hides available. Su Xian saw a message in the regional channel from someone named Ji Chuyang, claiming he had a crafting table and could help players without one-craft backpacks. But they had to provide the raw materials first. Trust was required, and most would doubt it. Seeing the added gifts, Li Wenxi's interest was piqued. She had already seen the effects of the red berries. They worked day and night and wouldn't attract wild beasts. Plus, giving just one or two was trivial for her. Su Xian added fuel to the fire. How much do you think you could sell this backpack for on the trading platform? Deal. Li Wenxi agreed immediately, sending the frowny face trade request. 2 blue stones plus 2 blue iron ores, 1 repaired white backpack, 1 blue-grade red berry, 5 kilograms green-grade bear meat. Hey, I said 2 kilograms of bear meat. Why are you taking 5? Su Xian was speechless. The girl blushed, turned away, and whistled. Su Xian reluctantly clicked accept. After all, he had plenty of bear meat. Li Wenxi looked at the patched-up, ugly backpack in her hands, slightly annoyed. Humph, if I don't find any good resources today, I'm definitely scolding you tonight. Su Xian laughed, about to respond, when suddenly Li Wenxi screamed, "Wow, what's that? So cute." Su Xian looked down. Coco had climbed onto his lap, rubbing its eyes, startled by the sudden scream, and let out a soft ing while staring at the screen. "Ew, you actually have a raccoon." Li Wenxi was envious to the point of almost losing her mind. "It's a red panda," Su Xian corrected, lifting Coco and waving her tiny paw. "Come on, Coco, say goodbye to your sister." He hung up the video. "Wait, you," but the call had ended. It was almost 9 o'clock, and Su Xian didn't want to explain further. Li Wenxi stared at the screen, blinking rapidly, a surge of frustration rising in her chest. No one had ever hung up on her like that. And that little creature was just too adorable. At that moment, the system announced Frowny Face Survivors, the first reward event, the Jungle Exploration event, is about to begin. Please listen carefully to the event instructions. Within a 3-kilometer radius of each survivor's treehouse, there are copper, silver, and gold chests, each containing chest-exclusive resources. Copper chests can be opened directly. The key to silver chests is inside the copper chest, and the key to gold chests is inside the silver chest. Survivor's goal is to find all 3 chests, obtain exclusive resources, upgrade their treehouse and themselves, and increase survival chances for the next danger wave. Friendly reminder: do not explore beyond 3 kilometers from your treehouse. Terrifying consequences may occur. Event duration: 9 o'clock today to 1800 hours tomorrow. Do not slack off. The 50 survivors with the lowest resource value rankings in each area will permanently leave this world. Survivors, are you ready? The Jungle Exploration event begins now. Chapter 25. The hidden meaning in the rules. Su Xian listened intently to the mysterious voice, more seriously than he would in a promotion match. When it concerned his own life, who wouldn't pay attention? When he heard that the last 50 people would be eliminated, Su Xian's eye twitched. The cruel bottom elimination rule confirmed his suspicion. The mysterious voice was definitely not benevolent. Even in a reward event, 50 people in each region would die, and no one knew how many would encounter dangers during the exploration. Although 50 out of over 8,000 people in their region wasn't much, just 0.6%. This was the first event after the newbie protection period. Who knew how many events awaited them in the future? Su Xian began analyzing the rules conveyed by the mysterious voice. Because of the key locations, the 3 chests had to be opened in order: copper, silver, then gold. Only in that order could all 3 chests be accessed. Could the chests be moved? If so, putting the first found chest in the backpack could make the event easier. Would wild beasts guard the chests? The worst case would be beasts he could not possibly defeat. Would there be any obvious signs around the chests? Su Xian thought there probably would be that a 3-kilometer radius was no small area, roughly the size of a small city's urban district. Even with a 2-day search and night vision abilities, walking alone could never cover the entire area. If it were purely luck, it would be far too boring. While he was thinking, Li Wenxi sent him another video call. Su Xian answered. This time, the girl's expression was serious. She said directly, I want to trade for some green wood. I don't have much, and many tools are unfinished. Su Xian also needed green stones, so he agreed. They quickly completed the trade. Li Wenxi suddenly smiled. If I survive this event, you have to let me see your little red panda properly. Su Xian patted Coco's head. He felt he should help this newly acquainted little rich girl. Before he found iron ore, she would be his mineral source. Besides, being with her was quite pleasant. He placed 2 oranges on the trading platform. These are for you. Depending on the situation tonight, don't go out if there's danger. If it's safe, you can use them. Blue-grade fruits were far less valuable than blue-grade mineral, rock, or wood resources. A single tree could produce hundreds of fruits, and their effects lasted only a few hours. They were not comparable to minerals and wood that could directly enhance tools. The difference was similar to that between potions and equipment of the same level. Giving her 2 oranges was an investment to Su Xian. The girl was about to refuse, but froze when she saw the effect of the oranges. She closed her mouth, which had already opened to protest, and obediently clicked the accept button. I'll compensate you after this event. Li Wenxi knew she had gotten a good deal. These fruits worked perfectly with red berries, allowing her to treat night as day. If she could make full use of the night, her chances of ending up in the last 50 would be greatly reduced. Oh, and by the way, you can gather some resources first before looking for the chests. The voice said the last 50 survivors in resource value, not the chest-exclusive resources. So even if you only get 1 blue-grade resource, you won't be in the last 50. Surely not everyone can get blue-grade materials. Su Xian shared his thoughts with Li Wenxi. Li Wenxi's eyes gradually widened. She began thinking, what you said makes sense. Did the voice really say that? I can't remember clearly. Originally, the bottom elimination rule made her anxious. She feared she wouldn't find a chest and become one of the last. But after hearing Su Xian, she felt reassured. At least she didn't have to worry about being eliminated at the very end. That's what it seems like, but it's just speculation. As a safeguard, perhaps the copper chest is easy to find, and its contents are even more valuable than blue-grade resources. Finding the chest should still be the priority. Of course, that possibility was small. Some people didn't even have green resources yet. If a copper chest's value exceeded blue-grade materials, the gold and silver chests would be unbeatable. Su Xian was essentially telling Li Wenxi what he planned to do. The oranges on the tree had not all been picked yet. At least 70 or 80 remained. If he harvested them all, he would almost certainly avoid bottom elimination. Li Wenxi nodded, feeling she had hitched herself to a strong ally. I'll follow your lead. Come back around 7 tonight if possible, so we can exchange information. Hee. All right, don't forget. Su Xian's plan reassured her, and a smile returned to her face. After hanging up, Su Xian glanced at the regional channel again. The whole channel was already in chaos. Oh my god, the last 50 will die. Isn't this a reward event? Why would anyone die? I have to find the chests quickly. Good luck, friends. Why? So many people died last night, and now it starts again. Can chests be traded? Whoever gets a chest, I'll trade all my belongings with them. My dad is XXX, someone help me. There will be a huge reward later. A group of men and women, none older than 30, were completely panicked. The channel was filled with meaningless chatter, no useful clues. One mentioned Su Xian's method. Even Ji Chaoyang, who often helped others in the channel, was completely absent. If he revealed the method publicly, everyone would do it, and it would lose all effectiveness. Someone would inevitably be in the last 50, but no one wanted it to be themselves. When the bottom 50 were eliminated, weaker players would feel not sympathy, but relief. Thankfully, it wasn't me. That's the cruelty of the bottom elimination system. Su Xian took his tools, stone axe, pickaxe, spear, slung on his backpack, and officially set out. His first task, pick the remaining oranges. Whether or not they were useful, It would at least give him peace of mind. He handed one orange to Coco on his shoulder. Coco peeled it like a human and ate with delight, her little face full of satisfaction. After picking the oranges, Su Xian opened the map to check for red dots nearby. If wild beasts guarded the chests, the red dots would be very close to his disappointment. Apart from numerous red dots in the center of the lake, there were none in his resource area. Most red dots were still concentrated in the northwest region. That was a hilly area, visible from his treehouse, but far away, definitely more than 3 kilometers. So the chests couldn't be there. So, where could they be? Su Xian wondered. Doesn't matter, let's move first. Maybe my item identification skill will reveal something. Su Xian wasn't worried. The orange tree was about 1 kilometer from the treehouse, and he planned to explore the outer edges of the 3-kilometer area first. The resource area was roughly 2 kilometers in diameter, with his treehouse at the very edge, meaning the exploration area included the resource area and a large part of ordinary terrain. Let's check the areas we haven't been to yet. Chapter 26. The truth hidden in the weeds. Thanks to the map, Su Xian didn't get lost, nor did he wander in circles like ordinary people in the jungle. There was no need to leave any markers. He simply walked straight in one direction. After walking for an unknown amount of time, the mysterious voice echoed in his mind again. Reminder, do not leave the treehouse beyond 3 kilometers, or something you don't want to see will happen. It seemed he had reached the outer edge of the 3-kilometer radius. Su Xian stopped and looked around. By now, he had stepped out of the resource area. From his perspective, most of the surroundings were ordinary plants glowing faintly white. With only a few scattered green lights, Su Xian checked the green lights, only to find they were ordinary green-grade resources, which were abundant in his resource area. Ing. Coco, the little red panda on his shoulder, suddenly let out a cry and jumped down. What's wrong, Coco? Did you find something? Su Xian asked quickly. Coco tugged on Su Xian's pant leg, signaling him to follow. The treehouse was at the very center of the circular area, while Su Xian was now at the eastern edge. Coco led him toward the southwest. The little creature must have discovered something. Su Xian's heart lifted. This little guy was truly his lucky star. That direction was one Su Xian had never explored before. The creek ran from west to east. Su Xian had followed it eastward, planting his treehouse on the western side of the resource area, then walked eastward through the entire resource area to his current location. But Coco was leading him south of the resource area, where he had never been, not even on the map. It was all black. Luckily, no red dots appeared in the darkness, which reassured Su Xian. As he followed Coco, Su Xian gradually noticed subtle differences. The surroundings resembled places he had passed before, with a poplar forest in summer and grass and shrubs on the ground. Yet he sensed that the grass and shrubs here were slightly different from what he had seen previously. Something felt off, though he couldn't immediately pinpoint it. Su Xian fell into thought. Coco kept glancing back, worried Su Xian might lag behind. When he slowed down in thought, Coco immediately tugged on his pant leg again. Coco, why are we going this way? Su Xian asked, feeling he was about to figure it out. Ing? Coco tilted its head. It seemed asking was pointless. The little guy was likely just following instinct. Su Xian shook his head and continued observing the shrubs and weeds. Su Xian suddenly noticed something. Tilting his head left and right while studying the weeds and shrubs, he suddenly looked enlightened, clapping his hands. I got it. Ing. Coco was startled and jumped. Flipping in midair, Su Xian finally understood why he had sensed a subtle difference in these weeds and shrubs. Weeds and shrubs growing naturally anywhere were chaotic, growing randomly. Everywhere Su Xian had been before had been like this, like an untended field, wild and messy. But here, the weeds and shrubs were different. On close observation, they all leaned slightly in one direction. Though subtle, Su Xian could distinguish chaos from order. There was no wind in the jungle, so it wasn't caused by the wind. And if it were, the plants would be swaying. But they weren't. Looking up at the poplar trees, Su Xian noticed that while the trunks and branches had no particular direction, every leaf slightly pointed the same way as the ground plants. Something was definitely attracting the plants in that direction. Satisfied with his realization, Su Xian's mood lifted. He pulled out a large red berry from his backpack, smiling. Here, Coco, this is your reward. Without you, I wouldn't have noticed this pattern so quickly. Seeing the red berry, Coco immediately stood on its hind legs, letting out a small cry, and clutched Su Xian's pant leg again. Su Xian fed Coco the berry. Instantly, its steps became lighter, hopping and squeaking ahead. Watching the little creature, Su Xian felt relaxed, shaking his head with a smile. The further he went, the more obvious the tilt of the weeds and shrubs became. Now they weren't leaning toward a general direction. They all pointed toward a single spot. He knew he was close. But there were no red dots on his map, nor high-level colors in his vision. Just white expanses with scattered green specks. Coco slowed down ahead, hesitating, as if sensing danger. Coco, come back, Su Xian said, deciding not to let Coco lead further. He didn't want his little treasure to be in danger. Coco jumped back onto Su Xian's shoulder, laying down obediently, its big tail draped over his other shoulder, eyes fixed on the front. The directional cue from the weeds and shrubs became more pronounced, and Su Xian's excitement grew that it was a chest. Who could resist a chest? Su Xian moved quickly forward when suddenly a sense of danger surged through him, making his eye twitch on his map. A red began slowly glowing at his location. No good. Su Xian pushed against a nearby tree, twisting his body, and rolled quickly to the side. That very moment, the ground beneath him and a head cracked open. Countless sharp vines shot up like spears. Each vine was as thick as an arm, dark green with red streaks running through them, looking eerie and unnatural. Inging, ing. Coco, knocked to the ground by Su Xian's move, was about to protest when it saw the suddenly erupting vines and widened its eyes in shock. The bizarre vines shot up and twisted together in the air, forming a giant drill, spinning towards Su Xian. WTF. Su Xian swore and rolled again, narrowly dodging the drill vine's second attack. With a loud bang, the twisted drill vine slammed into the ground beside him. Stones flew, hitting Su Xian's arms and face painfully. Luckily, after embedding in the ground, the vines seemed to have exhausted their energy and stopped moving. Chapter 27. The Copper Chest, an underground world. Su Xian's heart was still pounding wildly. On the fourth day in this world, he finally experienced, for the first time, the feeling of brushing past death. And it was not pleasant at all. He sprang up from the ground as fast as possible, scooped up Coco, who was sitting dazed on the ground, and moved 10 meters away. Hiding behind a tree, he watched the N-shaped vine in front of him while holding his stone spear and keeping a close eye on the map. He feared that this wasn't the only vine, worried that other plants might attack him. After 10 minutes of waiting, the intertwined attacking vine in front of him remained motionless. Coco whimpered softly in his arms. Su Xian swallowed and gripped his stone spear tightly. Earlier, because there were no red dots nearby, Su Xian hadn't thought he'd need the spear. It was long and unwieldy, so he had left it in his backpack. He never expected to encounter something like this. He cautiously approached, spear out, keeping a constant eye on the map. Snap. To Su Xian's astonishment, the once sturdy vine seemed to dry out instantly. One thrust of the spear pierced it through. The crack widened slowly from the puncture, and a portion of the vine shattered onto the ground. What's going on? Su Xian was baffled. How did a vine that had looked so strong suddenly turn into a pile of onion rings? Then he noticed the point where the vine had emerged, the root. The emerging part was long and seemed to pull out a swollen root with it. Could it be? Su Xian poked the tuber-like root with his spear. The vine's root cracked open, revealing a glint of brass. Calcium oxide. This chest location is insane. Su Xian couldn't help but curse. Indeed, inside the vine's root lay the copper chest he had been searching for. Through the cracked, dried vine, the brass-colored chest peeked out. Seeing metal in the middle of a vine gave Su Xian an intense sense of incongruity. Summoning his courage, he jabbed at the brittle vine. Seeing no reaction, he launched a full assault, smashing the entire vine into fragments on the ground. Finally, the copper chest was fully revealed. As the mysterious voice had said, the copper chest had no keyhole. It could be opened directly. Still, Su Xian remained cautious. After the vine ambush, his nerves were on edge. He suspected that something dangerous might be inside, ready to attack the moment he opened it. The red representing the vine had disappeared from the map, and no other red dots appeared nearby. But Su Xian still wasn't at ease. Just before the vine emerged, there were no red dots either. They only appeared gradually as the vine broke through the ground. Why did the red dot appear slowly? Could the vine have come all the way up from deep underground? Su Xian suddenly recalled the giant anaconda in the lake by his treehouse. When it submerged into the water, the red light gradually faded until it disappeared. What secrets were hidden underground? Why did these seemingly impossible monsters always emerge from below? Su Xian suddenly felt unsafe standing on the ground. He wanted to return to his treehouse, high up in the air. The three-story structure reached 16 or 17 meters, providing him a sense of security. Wait, on the first day in this world, the mysterious voice had said, "Remember, never abandon your treehouse. It is your only support." It had emphasized this many times since. Now, Su Xian sensed the danger lurking underground, that he felt he had discovered something, but not entirely. Forget it. Opening the chest was more urgent. Like a startled bird, Su Xian circled to the back of the chest. He suspected something might jump out, and opening from behind could give him reaction time. But he had overthought it. The chest held nothing else. Opening it, he found a bag at the top. Fertilizer? Natural organic fertilizer. Green can turn barren land, white, into ordinary soil, green. Sprinkling on ordinary soil, green, accelerates plant growth. 50 units remaining. Fertilizer that could change soil fertility. Survivors who had planted tree houses on barren land finally had hope. Su Xian had previously noticed that soil couldn't be traded. This fertilizer might be the only way to improve soil fertility. Accelerating plant growth on ordinary soil? Not very useful for him, but he grabbed the bag anyway. Underneath, he found more items. Birch seeds? Pine seeds. Su Xian lifted 2 bags of seeds. Birch seed. Grows into a birch tree in 10 days. Cutting it yields fine wood. Pine seed. Grows into a pine tree in 10 days. Cutting it yields logs. New tree species, new types of wood, new resources. Su Xian was glad he found this chest. The mysterious voice had mentioned that the chest contained limited resources. If he missed it, he might only obtain such materials from others. Paired with the fertilizer, he could quickly obtain new materials. The chest was thoughtful. The resources were complementary. Ing. Coco perched on the edge of the chest, tiny paws pointing inside. Beneath the seeds lay a silver compass and a silver key. The key was likely for the silver chest, but what about the compass? Su Xian picked it up. Silver chest compass. Green rotating the needle shows the general direction of a silver chest. Can be used every 2 hours. Nice. He was about to use the compass when he realized. If it only showed the general direction, returning to the treehouse first would be better. The central position would minimize the search area. Coco, let's go back to the treehouse. Ing. By the time they returned, the sun was high. Su Xian had left the treehouse at around 9 a.m. It was now 1 p.m. He had found the first chest in just 4 hours and was quite satisfied with his speed. He brought back the copper chest. It was still a copper item. Maybe he could later dismantle it for materials. Sitting down, Su Xian immediately took out the silver compass, placed it on the table, and turned the needle. The needle felt heavy and resisted turning at first. It didn't slow gradually. Instead, it spun faster and faster, then let out a crisp ding before settling. Finally, the needle pointed west. Huh, isn't that the direction I came from? West, the direction of the creek. Chapter 28. The other survivors gains. The needle pointed directly toward the direction from which the creek flowed. This likely meant that the silver chest was along the path he had taken to arrive here. Could it be the black bear's den? Su Xian stared at the compass, lost in thought. When he had come from the spawn point, he had observed the surroundings carefully. Apart from a black bear's den along the way, there didn't seem to be anything particularly noteworthy. Of course, the location of a chest could not be reasoned with common sense. After all, who would have guessed the copper chest would be hidden inside a vine's root? Its location had been utterly treacherous. Without his abilities, he might have fallen victim already, or at least been seriously injured. The location of the silver chest was probably unusual as well, so he had to proceed cautiously. Let's check the black bear's den first. I wonder if there's still a bear inside. The black bear he had killed before had its pelt converted into his backpack. Su Xian opened the map and looked at the den. There were no red dots inside. This black bear might actually be the one from the den, Su Xian said with relief. If that were true, all the better. The last time, he had only managed to kill a heavily scarred, defenseless black bear with the aid of his treehouse. If he had faced a black bear head-on with a melee weapon, he would have ended up as Bear Scat. If the black bear survived, he would have to outweed it. Coco was perched on the table, pawing at the compass needle. The compass had entered cool-down mode. It could not be used for the next 2 hours, so the needle moved weakly under Coco's paw. Like a clock whose gears had slipped, Su Xian opened the regional channel. The number of participants had fallen below 8,000, leaving only 7,987. He remembered seeing 8,140 people in the morning. 150 people gone, just like that? Su Xian shuddered. These might have been ambushed and killed by monsters guarding chests. Some of them may have encountered silver or gold chests first, which were likely guarded by even more formidable creatures. It seemed that the so-called end-of-rank elimination was merely a mechanism to lure survivors out of their treehouses. The real danger was the monsters guarding the chest. Su Xian grew wary. He did not want to die from a surprise attack. A cautious person. Without a map to alert him to danger, he might have simply stayed in his treehouse after obtaining the copper chest. Meanwhile, others in the regional channel were voicing similar concerns. Anyone here? Has anyone returned? I'm back. Got the copper chest. Damn, barely stepped out, and a bull-thick snake shot out of the ground and coiled around me. Almost got strangled. Huh? A snake? How did you survive? Hee lucky me. My stick jammed its mouth just in time. The snake broke apart after a few seconds, or I'd be dead. At least the hole it came out of had a copper chest, so the struggle wasn't for nothing. I'm not going out again. This is way too dangerous. One copper chest is enough. Seriously, that's too risky. You? Did you get a copper chest? Me? Haven't even left yet. You're not afraid of dying. Lost a leg to a beast, already waiting for death. Either way, going out is death. Maybe few people even find chests, and the last 50 are chosen randomly from those returning empty-handed. You've got quite the mindset. Condolences, my friend. We're all waiting for death together. A few scattered messages popped up in the regional channel. If you're not in the right mindset, does that mean you won't die? At least die happily. Hey bro, what's in your copper chest? Mind telling me? Nothing much. A bag of fertilizer and 2 packets of seeds. Su Xian watched silently. Some survivors had not died in the beast surge, but were severely injured, unable to act. That was why they stayed put, leaving their fate to chance. This served as a warning to Su Xian. Severe injury could result in elimination in the next event. From the person who obtained the chest, it seemed the dangers varied for everyone, but the copper chest contents were roughly the same. He wondered if the seeds inside were identical to his. Originally, Su Xian had planned to gather information from the channel, but since every survivor faced different threats and found chests in different locations, it was not useful to stay alert and avoid making mistakes due to sleepiness. Su Xian ate an orange, left a few in his backpack, and stored the rest in the treehouse, tossing one to Coco. The little creature enjoyed it immensely. Don't get orange juice on my shoulder. Following the creek, Su Xian headed upstream, a route he had traversed many times. First, before planting his treehouse. Second, to collect green pebbles and stones in the black bear's den. Back and forth several times, he had not noticed anything unusual along this path before. The silver chest, like the copper chest, might appear suddenly. Moreover, along the creek, special circumstances, like the way the weeds and shrubs hinted at the copper chest's location, might also arise. Su Xian stayed alert for subtle changes in the environment. Approaching the black bear's den, he realized he had been highly focused for a long time, and he had already arrived. There were no red dots on the map, at least for now, no black bears inside. Black bears are active both day and night, so Su Xian couldn't be sure if any bears had returned or had been made into a backpack. It was safer to be cautious. Eyes fixed on the map and the den, he stepped lightly inside. That strange wind sound echoed in his ears again. The cave likely had a large cavern below. Moving air caused the eerie noise. Perhaps it was a glimpse into the underground world, that a hopeful thought. But Su Xian searched the entire cave without finding even a small opening connecting to another space. The strange wind could be heard throughout the cave, but echoes made it impossible to locate its source. Maybe there wasn't a visible stone passage. Did he need to dig one out? Was this really where the silver chest was hidden? That wind had been present since the first day. Based on the copper chest's discovery, Su Xian believed the silver chest would create a new environmental change, rather than being linked to this constant wind. Meanwhile, Coco, perched on his shoulder, had no reaction and was already snoring. This little guy, such a sleepyhead. Su Xian shook his head. He decided to ignore the wind for now, continuing upstream along the river. If he still couldn't find anything, he would wait for the compass to cool down to reconfirm the direction. Exiting the black bear's den, Su Xian continued along the river, and soon, a reminder triggered frowny face reminder. Do not leave the treehouse beyond 3 kilometers, or something you don't want to see will happen. He had reached the boundary again. Chapter 29. An unexpected gain. Although he had reached the boundary, Su Xian didn't immediately turn back. Of course, he wouldn't recklessly cross the 3-kilometer limit. But he was curious why he couldn't go beyond it. Was it because the treehouse could only protect him within a 3-kilometer radius? Within this 3-kilometer range on the map, there were no beasts left except for the red in the center of the lake. Was this due to the treehouse's protection, or was it deliberately arranged by the mysterious voice? At this point, Su Xian had a guess. Though it was not fully formed, he cast a meaningful glance at the ground outside the boundary. That was the direction he had come from, a path he had crossed before without harm. But now, he could not go back. Previously, he had been protected by the newbie protection period. Now, it was the treehouse that shielded him in overthinking. Nearly 2 hours had passed, and Su Xian turned back toward the black bear's den. Standing at the entrance, he used the compass for the second time. Once again, a crisp ding resounded, and the needle gradually pointed in the opposite direction of the black bear's den, toward the opposite bank of the creek, so the chest was likely on the other side of the creek, meaning Su Xian had to cross it. The creek itself was easy to cross. It wasn't deep. Even though this was the lower section and the water had widened, its deepest point was only 30 to 40 centimeters. Just as Su Xian was about to step into the creek, he suddenly stopped. What if the monster wasn't on the other side, but in the creek itself? If he stepped in, wouldn't he be walking straight into death? 40 centimeters wasn't deep, but it would significantly slow him down. Coco, wake up. Su Xian roughly rubbed the little panda's head that was lying on his shoulder. Ing. Coco woke up very disgruntled, squeaking at Su Xian. Su Xian picked Coco up, holding it in front of the creek. Check if there's anything in the water. After all, last time it had been Coco's keen senses that helped locate the chest. Perhaps its intuition could be useful again. Ing? Coco tilted its head, still groggy from being woken, then jumped down and pawed at the water. After a moment, it shook its head at Su Xian. Ing, nothing. Su Xian frowned. Could it be his imagination? Neither Coco nor the map indicated any danger. Maybe he was overthinking. Relaxing his furrowed brow, he lifted Coco back onto his shoulder, removed his shoes, and prepared to cross. The creek was fast and icy cold. Just stepping in, Su Xian felt the biting chill. After only a few steps, his feet nearly lost all sensation. He didn't understand why the mountain creek water was so cold. Given that the air temperature had already surpassed 30 degrees Celsius after 2 steps, he paused. For some reason, he felt an increasing sense of dread, much like the danger he had felt when the vine almost burst from the ground. But this time it was milder, as if a threat was slowly approaching. Something was in the water. Sure enough, there was something. Trusting his instincts, Su Xian sprinted backward to the shore. He hadn't yet reached the deepest part, so retreating was the fastest way to get back. Just as he turned to run, splashing sounds erupted behind him, as if something had risen from the water. Ing! Coco squealed sharply from Su Xian's shoulder, a hoarse, piercing sound unlike its usual cute voice. As if challenging whatever was behind them, Su Xian turned slightly with his peripheral vision and saw it. When the creature came into view, Su Xian's pupils constricted instantly. Terrified, he bolted toward the bank. In the middle of the creek floated a crocodile. far larger than any ordinary crocodile. Its size reminded him of a prehistoric creature from the late Cretaceous, one of the largest crocodiliforms ever, a Deinosuchus. No, not just a Deinosuchus. A giant Deinosuchus, nearly 20 meters long. The crocodile rose from the creek bed, causing the water level to drop dramatically. Yet, the map he had been closely watching showed no red dots. What the hell? This map shows nothing. What kind of creator function is this, messing with us? Su Xian ran for the shore, his soul almost lagging behind his body. 4 or 5 steps later, he was safely on land. Strangely, the crocodile did not attack. If it had lunged, Su Xian would never have survived. Its strike speed was terrifying. A single bite and death roll would have torn him apart. Instead, the giant crocodile simply watched him, like the enormous serpent in the lake. It had a monstrous, ancient appearance, clearly out of this era. The only difference: the lake serpent appeared as a huge, bright red dot on the map, while this crocodile did not. Previously, the only thing invisible on the map had been little Coco. He glanced at Coco on his shoulder. The little panda bared its teeth at the crocodile, seemingly trying to intimidate it, but it looked far too cute to be taken seriously. The giant crocodile slowly opened its mouth. Su Xian's face turned pale, ready to sprint for his life. But then he saw a flash of silver inside the crocodile's jaws. A silver chest inside this crocodile's mouth. Can anything here just be normal? Ing. The crocodile flicked its head, and the silver chest landed on the shore with a loud bang, right at Su Xian's feet. The enormous beast closed its jaws, glanced at Su Xian with tiny eyes, then slowly sank back into the creek bed. The once clear water was now murky from stirred-up sand, but Su Xian could still see the crocodile hadn't left. It was lying in wait at the bottom of the creek. That it must have been here all along, even when Su Xian first passed by. Like Coco, this crocodile was special, not bound by the rules of this world. The thought sent shivers down his spine. Even though it didn't seem hostile, this was still a massive crocodile, with its demonic appearance and sharp teeth enough to terrify anyone. Fortunately, it didn't attack. Looking down at the silver chest at his feet, Su Xian felt as if he were dreaming. He had somehow, inexplicably, obtained a silver chest. This chest location is ridiculously insane. Chapter 30. The treehouse renovation contract. Although the giant crocodile in the creek hadn't harmed him, Su Xian still treated it with respect and carefully placed the silver chest into his backpack, moving away from the riverbank. That crocodile, like Coco, doesn't appear on the map and doesn't attack me. Could it be that units that aren't enemies simply don't show up? Su Xian gently patted Coco's fluffy head, and Coco inged softly, nuzzling his palm. Maybe the red dots on the map only indicate hostile units, ones that would actively attack me. Neutral or friendly entities, like the crocodile or Coco, are automatically categorized as non-hostile and don't appear. Their nature is probably similar to the birds and insects in the forest. Having figured this out, Su Xian's impression of the giant in the creek changed. This enormous creature had helped him obtain a silver chest with very little effort, albeit with a good scare. Only after moving 300 to 400 meters from the riverbank did Su Xian take the silver chest out of his backpack. The silver chest was noticeably larger than the previous copper chest. Its bright silver surface was visually similar to the copper chest, except for the color, but this one had a keyhole in the center. Su Xian took out the silver key, inserted it, and gently twisted. A mechanical sensation ran through his hand, followed by a crisp click from inside the chest as it unlocked. Cautiously, Su Xian moved behind the chest before opening its lid as he had feared. Nothing unexpected happened. Huh? Why is there so little inside? Inside the silver chest was only a thin sheet of paper, a golden compass, and a golden key. Su Xian picked up the paper. Treehouse renovation contract. Blue. Using this contract unlocks treehouse renovation options. The interior can be remodeled, and weapons and defense modules can be installed on the exterior. Whoa! Su Xian's eyes lit up. He could now equip his treehouse with weapons and defense modules. This was turning his treehouse into a fortress. If he fully armed it, perhaps one day he could even kill the terrifying giant serpent in the lake. Moreover, he could finally remodel the interior. Living every day in a 100 square meter empty room without any functional facilities had been uncomfortable. No matter how large the treehouse was, he still had to go downstairs to shower and handle daily needs. It was inconvenient. With this contract, he could renovate the interior, adding bedrooms and bathrooms, turning the treehouse into a real home. Without hesitation, Su Xin activated the contract. The contract crumbled in his hand, merging into his palm. He immediately felt a surge of energy and warmth flow through his body. He even felt slightly stronger. Does this contract also enhance my strength? Su Xian clenched his fist and lifted the silver chest, which now felt significantly lighter than before. Following the bear paw enhancement, Su Xian had gained more strength. In a world full of dangers, personal power was vital. The mysterious voice wasn't going to let the survivors stay in their tree houses forever. He took the golden compass and key from the chest and also pulled out Coco, who had curiously jumped into the chest and was clinging to its inner wall. Su Xian placed the empty silver chest back into his backpack. In this world, silver and the previously obtained copper were valuable materials for crafting electronic devices, so it would be useful later. The silver chest was heavy, and even in the backpack, the remaining 20% of its weight slightly hindered Su Xian's movements. It was probably nearing 7 in the evening, the time he had agreed to meet Li Wenxi. He hoped nothing had happened to her. The compass was also most effective when used from the treehouse. Let's go back, Coco. Ing. Coco jumped onto Su Xian's shoulder. Back at the creek, the giant crocodile had completely submerged itself. The fast-flowing water had returned to its clear state, and the creek bed had also returned to normal. Su Xian glanced at the bottom, noting a few scattered cobblestones. He could see a faint glimpse of the crocodile skinned out of course. If he hadn't witnessed the crocodile emerge from the water, he would never have guessed that the rough black creek bed concealed a nearly 20-meter-long giant. Thanks, Mr. Crocodile. Next time I'll bring you something tasty. Su Xian saluted toward the creek bed. The flowing water swirled slightly, as if responding to him. It really did respond. Curiosity replaced Su Xian's fear. He even found the giant crocodile a little endearing. However, there was no time to waste. After another salute toward the creek, Su Xian turned and left, with Coco squeaking and waving its paw in farewell. The little panda had been baring its teeth at the crocodile just moments ago. Together, the man and panda made their way back to the treehouse. Once inside, Su Xian immediately checked the newly unlocked function. A new option appeared on the screen. Treehouse renovation. Entering it, Su Xian saw a long list of construction items. Wooden partition walls, wooden doors, wooden cabinets, wooden windows. Everything needed for the interior was listed. Asterisk. Wooden partition wall. Green can be built inside the treehouse to provide some sound insulation. Requires round wood. Green. 5. Asterisk. Wooden door. Green can be installed inside the treehouse for privacy. Requires round wood. Green. 2. Asterisk. Small stone stove. Green, a simple stove for cooking. Not precise for temperature control. Requires stone block. Green. 10. There were also many other common interior facilities. Interestingly, the new materials required for interior renovation came from the copper chest he had obtained earlier. Now, he even had a stove to cook food. Once this event passed, Su Xian could fully redesign the interior of his treehouse. Next, he looked at exterior weapons and defense modules. The list contained only one weapon. Automatic crossbow. Green can be installed on the treehouse exterior. Automatically attacks hostile units. Requires fine wood. Green. 10. Beast tendon. Green. 2. Heavy crossbow bolt. Green, heavy. Sharp arrows that can pierce beasts but have short range due to weight. Reusable. Requires fine wood. Green. 2. Stone block. Green. 1. Treehouse wooden armor. Green can be mounted on tree trunks to reduce damage from beast attacks. Requires round wood. Green. 2. Weapons installed outside also required new materials. Fine wood from birch trees and round wood from pine trees. Looks like he needed to plant the 2 seed types he had obtained. With the automatic weapons and stronger defenses, the next beast attack would be much safer. He could even kill beasts and collect materials from inside the treehouse, instead of risking his life like last time against the black bear. However, the crossbow also required beast tendons.